Disgraced media mogul Sean Diddy Combs now on watch in a Brooklyn detention center.
I think that was obtained by Daily Mail back in September of Diddy playing hack Park to now he appeared just astonishingly thinner.
Diddy is apparently refusing meals. I don't know if it's all of them, but he's refusing some of them, and he's been reportedly looking a lot thinner. Why would that be?
Y'all won't believe what's happening with Diddy in prison. It's absolutely shocking. The latest photos of him have everyone's jaws on the floor. He's looking devastatingly thin, practically unrecognizable. His poor daughters are beside themselves with worry about his health behind bars. But honey, hold on to your seats because this drama train is just leaving the station.
Diddy ringing in the new year with a jailhouse meltdown, at least according to some new reports. All this comes as the disgraced singer spends his first holiday season behind bars.
MTV out. I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get!
Just when you thought things couldn't possibly get any more scandalous, bam! Another lawsuit drops like a bomb, and this time, honey, it's not just Diddy in the hot seat. His own family members are being dragged into this mess. And let me tell you, they're scrambling to distance themselves faster than celebrities fleeing a PR nightmare. But at this rate, some of them might end up sharing a cell with Daddy Dearest.
Tonight, exclusive details in a harrowing story from a young woman who says she was brutally by Sean Diddy Combs and his entourage. She says it happened one terrifying night back in 2018. Her recall is crystal clear and specific. And if true, it represents one of the more disturbing that Sean Combs, Diddy, is alleged to have committed.
Okay, so unless you've been living under a rock, you know about the bombshell lawsuit that former music producer Lil Rod dropped on Diddy, accusing him of SA. But darling, that's just the tip of this scandalous iceberg. Lil Rod didn't stop at Diddy. He went after Justin Combs, Diddy's own son. The accusations? They're absolutely explosive. According to Lil Rod, Justin was a regular at Diddy's notorious parties and, brace yourself, allegedly helped procure underage girls for his father. I know, right? Shocking. But wait, there's more tea to spill. You know those whispers that have been circulating for years about Diddy's, let's say, unusual relationship with his adopted son Quincy Combs? Well, they're getting louder. Quincy, who's actually the biological son of singer Al B, Sure and Diddy's ex Kim Porter, was adopted by Diddy when he was just a tiny tot, around 3 years old. But apparently there's been some serious darkness lurking behind those closed mansion doors. Enter Freddie P., an artist who claims Diddy blackballed him after they worked together early in his career. He's finally speaking up, saying there was always something off about Diddy's relationship with Quincy. And honey, he's not the only one raising eyebrows. The industry is buzzing with whispers about how Diddy's behavior might have influenced his son's actions. Speaking of which, let me tell you about Christian Combs, another one of Diddy's sons who's found himself in scalding hot water. This lawsuit? It's absolutely wild. Grace O'Marcaigh is the woman at the center of it all, and she's accusing Christian of SA, mistreatment, and inflicting emotional distress. This allegedly went down in December 2022 during what was supposed to be, get this, a wholesome family excursion on a boat. But according to Grace, it turned into something straight out of a hedonistic nightmare. The timing is just dramatic. This all supposedly happened just days before Diddy threw one of his infamous New Year's Eve yacht parties. You know the ones, celebrities everywhere, cameras flashing, the works. But this time, there was something sinister brewing beneath all that glamour. Christian's facing serious heat, and Daddy Dearest isn't getting off scot-free either. Diddy's being sued for premises liability since he chartered the yacht and allegedly helping his son during the alleged SA. Their legal team is fighting back hard, calling the lawsuit lewd and meritless. Mark Garagos, their lawyer, is going for the jugular, accusing O'Marcaigh's lawyer, Tyrone Blackburn, of making up lies and throwing in irrelevant facts. But Blackburn? Oh honey, he's not backing down. He fired back with the most deliciously savage statement, like father, like son, suggesting Christian is just following Daddy's alleged footsteps down a very dark path. Now, here's where it gets even juicier. Grace's legal team claims they've got audio recordings that back up everything she's saying. Apparently, a producer in the studio captured it all. Her fighting off Christian's advances, her desperate pleas for him to stop, everything. According to the lawsuit, Grace was 25 and working as a steward on the yacht, serving drinks and dinner during what she describes as non-stop partying. But this wasn't your regular celebrity shindig. She's talking about constant debauchery, bad substances, and a revolving door of suspected S-workers mingling with the rich and famous. Things took an even darker turn when Grace started getting suspicious about the drinks. She believes the bottles were laced with illegal substances. I mean, women were passing out, panicking, or falling over after just one drink. Fast forward to December 28, 2022, enter Christian Combs, supposedly there to record with producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones. Grace says Christian showed up completely wasted and started acting. Well, let's just say inappropriate doesn't even begin to cover it. She claims Christian insisted she take shots of something he brought on board. And honey, after that, things went south faster than a celebrity's career after a scandal. Grace started feeling strange, suspecting her drink was spiked. Then Christian allegedly started getting handsy, touching her legs, her breasts, you name it. In those audio clips, you can apparently hear her saying, "Excuse me, you don't touch my legs like that," while trying to escape his advances. She even tells him, "If I want to do this, then I will." But it gets worse. Christian allegedly wouldn't take no for an answer, cornering her in a cinema room where he supposedly continued groping her and tried to force her into performing oral acts. Grace says he blocked her in and wouldn't let her leave until someone else walked in. Talk about a guardian angel moment. The aftermath, absolutely devastating for Grace. She says her mental health completely shattered. We're talking panic attacks, thoughts of self-harm, and even seizures. When she reported it to the yacht captain the next day, he didn't believe her. Instead of getting support, she claims she was retaliated against and fired months later in May 2023. So now, looking at Diddy wasting away in prison? Well, let's just say his weight loss isn't exactly garnering much sympathy considering what he allegedly did to his victims. The consequences are finally catching up with him, and while prison might be tough, it's nothing compared to the trauma his alleged victims have endured.
Now, a son of embattled music mogul Sean Diddy Combs has been accused of a lawsuit filed in LA Superior Court on Thursday accuses Christian King Combs and possibly a woman in December 2022. The woman says it happened while she was working on a yacht that Diddy had chartered. This comes just over a week after homes owned by Diddy were raided in LA and Miami as part of a federal investigation.
Now let me spill the tea about Diddy's current situation. It's bad, like really bad. His lawyer's been desperately trying to get him moved out of the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. They're begging to transfer him to the federal detention section at Essex County Jail, thinking it might be safer for our fallen rap mogul. But the judge? They're taking their sweet time, leaving it up to the Bureau of Prisons to decide. You want to know how bad MDC is? It's literally one of the most brutal prisons in the country. We're talking insane violence and horrific living conditions. This place is so notorious that 4 federal judges have flat out refused to send anyone there. It's basically a powder keg waiting to explode, and now Diddy's stuck right in the middle of it.
The music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
The hip-hop mogul is said to be under watch for his own safety at the Metropolitan Detention Center in New York City.
It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here.
Get this, Diddy can't even mix with the other prisoners. He's in protective custody, which means he's isolated for 23 hours a day under constant surveillance. When he does get those precious few hours out of his cell, he's probably just pacing in circles with absolutely no one to talk to. Talk about a fall from grace. And honey, let me tell you about MDC. This isn't your typical celebrity jail situation. We're talking about one of the worst places a person could end up, especially if you're famous like Diddy. It's literally crawling with inmates serving long sentences for everything from bank robbery to substance dealing and worse. These people, they've got nothing to lose. Taking out someone like Diddy would make them instant legends in prison. Imagine being locked up for life with no chance of parole. What's stopping you from going after the guy who used to flaunt his wealth and status everywhere? The conditions? Horrific. The facilities are ancient, packed to the brim, and just, ugh. And poor Diddy, if you can even call him that anymore, doesn't even get the same privileges as other inmates. No fancy commissary items for him. No snacks, no essentials, nothing. Those steak dinners he used to enjoy? A distant memory. But wait, it gets even more dramatic. Sources say Diddy's mental state is completely unraveling. Apparently, he had a total breakdown during the holidays. We're talking full-on crying, begging the guards to take him to the hospital. But did they? Nope. They left him there with nothing but his thoughts and those cold prison walls for company. Finally, after hours of struggling, he managed to pull himself together using some meditation technique. Deep breathing and positive thinking were literally his only lifeline in that moment.
According to a report from the Daily Mail, that's why Diddy had a breakdown. A person close to him apparently said, quote, spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare for him. If we're to believe all this, Diddy had a meltdown in his cell and begged the guards to take him to the hospital for observation, but they refused.
And this wasn't even his first mental health crisis. When he first arrived at MDC, they put him on suicide watch. Yes, you heard that right. The prison system clearly thought he might harm himself, which just shows how much this whole situation is affecting him. I mean, can you imagine spending all day in isolation, barely any human contact, and constant surveillance? It would break anyone down. But here's the real tea. Diddy's celebrity status is making everything so much worse. And get this, sources claim some people he allegedly blackballed have put a hit out on him. Can you even imagine being stuck in MDC, worried about your life every single day, knowing there are people out there who want to hurt you for what you've done?
They told the judge the jail he was being sent to is dreadful, dirty, inhuman, and an ongoing tragedy.
Now, the public? They're totally divided on this whole situation. On one side, you've got people saying this is karma finally catching up with Diddy. They're not shedding any tears over his prison struggles. But then there's this growing concern about his safety because, let's be real, MDC is seriously dangerous, and Diddy's living a reality that's worlds away from his former life of luxury and power. Let me paint you a picture of just how savage MDC really is. We're talking extreme violence as a daily occurrence, where supervision is basically a joke. The medical care? Practically non-existent. They're out here ignoring life-threatening injuries like it's nothing. A former inmate spilled all the tea about how violent it gets. Apparently, stabbings happen at least a couple times a week. And these aren't just little scuffles. Inmates are walking around with homemade weapons, some 6 to 9 inches long. You won't believe this horror story. There was this one inmate who got stabbed multiple times, and instead of rushing him to medical care, they threw him into a 25-day lockdown as punishment. And another inmate, they weren't even that lucky, ended up dead. It's like a terrifying reminder of how quickly things can spiral out of control behind those walls. But wait, it gets even messier. The corruption inside MDC is off the charts. In just the last 5 years, they've had to fire at least 6 correctional officers for smuggling in all sorts of contraband. We're talking cell phones, illegal razors, and even drugs. And get this, some inmates are saying certain officers are actually in cahoots with gangs. Can you imagine? The people supposed to be keeping order are part of the chaos. Things are so bad at MDC that judges are literally refusing to send people there. But here's the catch. After they closed down the Metropolitan Correctional Center, you know, the place where Jeffrey Epstein was held, MDC is pretty much the only option left for high-profile inmates like Diddy. No wonder his daughters are absolutely beside themselves with worry. Sources say his twin daughters, Delilah and Jessie, flew all the way from California just to see him. They brought their grandmother, Janice Combs, along for what turned out to be an absolutely heartbreaking visit. It was so emotional that some people think it might have influenced Janice's recent comments about all this legal drama.
Anything you want to say to the press while we're going inside?
No.
What do you want the girls to know about Diddy? How's he doing?
Your father? How's your father doing right now?
Spoken to your father. Any messages?
Now let me catch you up on the family background because this is where it gets really interesting. Diddy had his twins, Delilah and Jessie, with Kim Porter back in 2006. Even though their romance fizzled out in 2007, they stayed close and co-parented like champs until Kim's tragic passing in 2018. But here's where it gets super suspicious. Kim's case has suddenly been reopened. People are whispering that Diddy might have had something to do with her passing. Nothing's been proven yet, but the timing, it's raising all kinds of red flags. And talk about hypocrisy. While Diddy was allegedly out there mistreating other people's daughters, he was spoiling his own rotten. Remember their Sweet 16? He threw this absolutely over-the-top party and surprised them with brand new cars.
Happy birthday, Jessica!
The public isn't missing the irony here. Everyone's wondering how someone who claims to love his own children so much could allegedly make such devastating choices affecting other people's lives. Their 18th birthday really drove home how much things have changed. Instead of the usual star-studded extravaganza Diddy was known for, the twins had a much more subdued celebration last December. They shared glimpses of it on Instagram, looking absolutely gorgeous in matching pink and black mini dresses with fluffy heels, posing in front of a Christmas tree with with beautiful balloon decorations. Sure, it was still glamorous, but nothing like the epic parties their father used to throw. Their big brother Christian stepped up though, making sure they still felt special. He posted these sweet photos of them with their birthday balloons and stunning pink flower bouquets, writing this absolutely heartfelt message: "Happy B-Day to my queens. I can't believe y'all are already 18. I remember the day you were born like it was yesterday. I'm proud of you and love you so much." But there was this extra layer of emotion to their birthday. It came just a week after what would have been their late mother Kim Porter's birthday, and barely a month after the 6th anniversary of her passing. Kim left us in November 2018 at just 47 years old, officially from lobar pneumonia. But honey, that's not where this story ends. Her name's been making headlines again because of these explosive claims that she was working on a tell-all memoir before her death. Now, both Christian and Quincy have jumped to defend their mom's legacy, along with her close friend LaWanda Lane, all insisting there was never any book in the works. But here's where it gets juicy. These accusations came from Courtney Burgess, who's now a key witness in Diddy's trial. And honey, what Burgess is claiming could change everything. According to him, he's got his hands on some flash drives containing absolutely explosive material. We're talking a complete 54-page manuscript that Kim allegedly prepared as a sort of insurance policy. The chilling part? Burgess says Kim started the book with this haunting message, basically saying if anything ever happened to her, she wanted the world to know what was in those pages.
Mr. Burgess is delivering that truth. Mr. Burgess actually told me that he believed that the purpose of that order letter that was written by Mark Agnifilo on November 3rd was because Diddy knew that it was Courtney who was bringing this information.
But that's not even the half of it. There have been whispers for decades about Diddy possibly being connected to mysterious celebrity deaths in Hollywood. These rumors exploded when Jaguar Wright, who's been friends with both Diddy and Jay-Z for years, came forward with some absolutely bone-chilling claims. She's saying Diddy had access to substances that could trigger pneumonia and heart attack symptoms. I mean, can you even imagine?
Kim is dead. Heavy D is dead. Andre Harrell is dead. The only two left are Puffy and Al almost died.
And here's the really scary part. It's not as far-fetched as you might think. Just look at all these celebrities who've passed from things like drowning, heart attacks, or pneumonia, all allegedly connected to certain substances. We're talking about Kim, Jamie Foxx, Brittany Murphy, Aaron Carter, even Whitney Houston. It really makes you wonder about what's really going on behind the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, doesn't it? So while Diddy's daughters are absolutely right to be worried sick about their father's well-being in that nightmare of a prison, there's clearly so much more to this story than meets the eye. The truth about what their father's been involved in, it goes way deeper than just worrying about him behind bars. His actions have raised some seriously disturbing questions, and it feels like we're just scratching the surface of what might come out during his trial. At this point, all we can do is hope that justice prevails, whatever that might look like. Whether the trial is fair or not, the truth has a way of coming out eventually. If you want to stay in the loop about everything happening in Diddy's upcoming trial, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and check out our other videos. But we're dying to know, what do you think about all this drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. In the comments below. In the comments.